Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives. Hello!
Oh my God.
Sorry, I was just thinking of
not
Mrs. Doubtfire.
expecting that.
I know, it was just something that came to me. Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello! Welcome, FitBody Lifers, to another episode of a FitBody Fusion or FitBody Lifestyle and our Fusion Hack of the Day. I'm a mess.
Soup sandwich.
Yeah, soup sandwich. And we are joined today by our special guest, Miss Anne Lemus, Coach Anne Lemus. And I'm, of course, here with my partner in crime, love of my life, Miss Jamie D. And today we are going to talk about preparing for your blood draw so that you can get some good labs. And where do you want to start that discussion? Because we talked a little bit about it on the full episode.
Yeah, we started to touch on it, but like this way we can break down, because I do think this is something, and I even have to review this each time I do blood work. So I remember what would you say is the most important thing to think about?
The most important thing to think about. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Have a 24-hour plan, maybe.
Ooh, I like
start
that.
thinking about what do I need to do 24 hours? It's like going into surgery, right? Like this is what you need to do like 24 hours before your labs. Start thinking about, I have labs tomorrow morning. What do I need to do differently today, right? So make sure you hydrate, make sure you eat well, make sure you're not eating sugar and cheeseburgers and garbage late into the night.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you for throwing me under the bus.
Think about your supplements, like, what supplements are potentially going to impact your labs. And it could be anything from like heavily dosing yourself with like vitamin D, vitamin B12, things that are going to impact those variables. What medications you might need to think about. So perfect example, if you're on thyroid medication and you're getting a full thyroid panel done the next day, don't take your dose first thing in the morning, bring it with you, get your labs done, and then take it so you get a really true value. Because we've talked about some other HRT things.
Can I ask you a question about
Sure.
thyroid? Because do you want to check with your provider on that, or the person who's ordered your labs? Because sometimes they like to see it with the medication to see if it's giving you the
That's
right
a good
values.
call.
Yeah.
Ask your practitioner who's
Most of
drawing
the
it.
time, I would say that most of the time they don't want you to take
9
it.
times out of 10, I think generally, of most of my clients that are on thyroid meds, their doctors tell them, take it with you, don't take it. Because if you
And I think that's right. I do think it's good to just check with your practitioner, right?
Everything's
totally
and
agree.
the other, as you talk about preparing for your labs, or as we talk about this, the 24-hour plan, I love that, by the way, is that we've talked about a wellness journal in this. It's a good idea to kind of note what's going on that day, on that week, so that you have context when the labs are drawn. So we'll talk about, I think you'll talk about HRT and whether you do your testosterone, your estrogen, progesterone, where you do those relative to your labs. So maybe we go there next.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one. Like
Okay.
if you're on thyroid medication, if you're on HRT, again, check with your provider. But most of the time, like mine will tell me if I inject twice a week, if I inject like on a Monday or Wednesday, they don't want me getting my labs injecting on Wednesday morning and then getting my labs done. They want me, if I inject on Monday, get my labs done Wednesday morning before my next injection, and then do my injection later that day so that you get a better read.
Right.
All of us are now down the peptide rabbit hole. Peptides will impact your labs pretty significantly. Particularly, there's a lot of people using GLP-1s. If you take your GLP-1 dose the night before you get labs, your fasted insulin is going to be high. It should be. I mean, if it's doing what it should be doing, but it's going to look kind of frightening. That's a big one. Things that will impact your IGF. If you're getting your IGF tested on labs, know that those are going to be impacted by peptides.
So that would be any growth hormone stimulating peptide.
Yep.
GHRPs, right?
Yeah, even GLP-1s
Yep.
will raise your IGF-1. So there are definitely things you need to look at. I guess just think through. Look at what supplements you're taking. Look at what medications you're taking and how they're going to impact labs. And if you have a question, ask your practitioner. Are these things I should stop before these labs, and how soon before? And then just, we talked about eating, we talked about drinking.
Well, let's go back
strenuous
before we get
exercise.
to some. Yeah, well, I want to
that's
talk about
what's-
exercise, but I also want to talk about one supplement in particular, biotin, which a lot of people take for hair. That can skew your thyroid panel if you're getting a full thyroid panel. So I think the recommendation on that was 3 days before. Discontinue that. That's, I think, what Joanna told me. If I go back to that, but that's something to check with your provider about as well. So if you are taking a biotin
Something like
related supplement,
ashwagandha too.
yeah,
could be.
ashwagandha, yes.
Yeah.
So
You know what-
hopefully, and we've talked about this relative to HRT clinic or hormone replacement clinics, is that hopefully they are a holistic provider and they are giving you a list of these things to just to take into consideration before you get your labs drawn, which is part of having that 24-hour plan. Do I know what I need to take? Do I know what I need to discontinue so I don't skew my lab results?
Yes. Oh, another one I didn't think about earlier, because usually I'm working with people on the other side of the program. But younger women, if you're getting your hormone panel drawn, be in your luteal phase. Like it needs to be
explain that for
So you need to be, you're past ovulation, but you haven't started your next cycle yet. So if you're trying to get a true kind of understanding of where you are, estrogen, progesterone, and they need to be consistent, right? So if you get a lab done last month and you were in your follicular phase, and then this time you're in your luteal phase and you're comparing them going, oh my gosh, well, look what well, of course, your hormones are supposed to fluctuate a lot within a month. And so if you're not getting them done at the same time, but you're going to get the clearest picture if you're in that luteal phase of where estrogen, progesterone balance is.
Yeah, and I typically hear like day 21 through 23.
If you've got
something
clients
like
that are that dialed in, ideally, yes,
Yeah,
ideally.
And I mean, obviously, not everybody's super regular, but
Yeah, but
that makes it
somewhere
hard
in
to
the-
determine what phase you're in anyway. But yes,
Right.
if you are somebody that's regular, then that's good to.
And you're right. A couple days past ovulation is ideal, because if you're a day before your cycle, that's going to skew things a little bit. So, yeah, so that one's important.
And consistency is key. That's really what part of it too is. You want
Yeah,
apples to apples.
apples
Like you
to
said, if
apples.
you're doing it all different times each month, then it's not gonna. It's very hard to see how
Correct.
consistent.
Yeah, you can't look at trends if you're not doing the labs at the same time.
Yeah, that's very good advice. So then you were about to talk about activity.
Activity, yes.
Exercise.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, you don't want to be doing really intense, hardcore exercise, either cardio or even, I would say, heavy weightlifting the night before your labs, or this seems logical, but even the morning of, right? Like if you have a lab appointment for noon, don't do your crazy fasted cardio for an hour and then go lift and then go get labs, because
Right.
they're going to be a little wonky.
I've even heard as long as 48 hours on that, but just kind of depends on
How hard you train.
Exactly.
I've heard 48 is ideal. 24 is kind of more of the
Good
doable.
enough.
Yeah, good enough. And I do think, if you train the morning before your labs the next day, you're probably going to be okay. But it is a good idea to turn down the intensity maybe that day so that
for
you're
sure.
not, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that will affect your creatine kinase, your creatinine, your what other levels can be influenced by that?
I mean, so many levels.
Yeah,
can
that's-
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things. Cortisol. It'll impact your cortisol, your creatinine. Yeah, there's lots of things. Creatinine you see high a lot with athletes. I'm sure
bodybuilders,
you
yeah.
guys do a lot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, also we talk about try and get a good night's sleep.
Yep.
If you have a question, ask, right? Like ideally, you're right. If you're working with a really good provider, they should be giving you instructions, right? Please do these labs at this time, be fasted. They'll give you the ideas. Don't take your HRT. Do all. If you didn't get any instructions, ask your provider, those kind of things. Because like I said, I've asked specifically for like morning cortisol and fasted glucose only to find out the labs were drawn at like noon and they weren't truly fasted. And then you got to kind of start over. So.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today.
Right.
And what we've talked about wellness journal, and I keep coming back to that, but I do think it's very important that if you are having a one-off day, the day before your labs, it's a stressful day at work. You had a presentation before the board of directors. You know whatever is going on that day before, to make sure that you note those factors down, you write them down, so that when your lab results come, you at least have some context about why that day was an outlier day.
Yes.
And whatever, maybe you slept like crap, maybe you ate like crap, maybe you traveled, maybe you've been, and we talked about being sick.
If you're coming, you feel like you're getting sick, if you feel like you're coming down with something, or you just got over something, probably not the best time to get labs drawn.
And I think, I think a lot of people once you have the lab scheduled, you're going to go through with it, which is fine. And when you get the results, if you have these flags out for high values, low values, and you have not recorded those historical elements, sickness, travel, sleep, stress, all those things. Alcohol, that's the other one. Yeah.
Do not drink alcohol within 24 hours of getting your labs drawn.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, don't schedule
or
your
do, so you can see what it really does to
there
your
you go.
other readings.
Yeah.
Maybe you use
If
it
you do, you're going to get some answers, kind of like Greg did with his smash burger.
And do we need to keep coming back to this? Jeez.
Smash burger and some
I
alcohol. See what
feel
that does.
bullied. I feel bullied.
You
Feel
know,
attacked.
something else I do think can factor in. I know some people get really nervous and scared around getting blood drawn. I don't, but I sometimes find my morning a little more stressful just because I'm fitting it in with the other things I need to get done during the day. But I know some people are petrified of needles or things like that. So, maybe just a little bit of breathing or
Absolutely.
a little bit of meditation ahead of time.
Because that alone can impact your cortisol. I mean, I think my worst cortisol reading ever is I woke up late and I had an appointment and I was running late and I was going 1,000 miles an hour and I literally sat down in that chair in the nick of time to get my blood drawn, and I was like, my cortisol was insane.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that exact thing.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about too. And like to your point, like making sure you notate that, because then, you go to the blood work review and like, oh my God, what's going on here? Oh, well, I was literally breaking a sweat running around.
For me, if I don't get up and hydrate and have a plan for hydration, so if I know I have a blood draw at 7 o'clock, I'll set my alarm for at least 5:30 or 6, or at least, ideally 5:30, but 6 at the latest. And I have that water right by the bed, and I'm drinking from the moment that I get up, just to make sure that I'm properly hydrated. You said you do 40 ounces. I'm a liter. I'll do a liter before a blood draw just to make sure. And the other thing that I think is so important for me is that I need to move a little bit before I get my blood draw. I need to just, whether I'm stretching or do something, but I can't just be sedentary and then go get my lab. I always get weird results when I do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I need to move a little bit. And part of it, the other part of the moving is that if it's a cold morning, my veins may not be as prominent. So a little bit of movement helps me or breath work. Breath work does wonders too.
Perfect. I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Awesome.
Do we cover it all?
Anything else you could think of?
I don't think so.
I think that's good.
We gave a
I
good
definitely
list.
like the idea of make sure you check with your practitioner, go through everything you're taking, make sure they know everything you're taking. Because I don't know how many times I've had situations where somebody hasn't told me, some supplement they introduced or something else. And so it's really important to let your coach and certainly your healthcare provider know everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So
we-
over the counter, I know sometimes when people are using supplements over the counter, they think that's different than prescribed medications. And
Right. And sometimes you're working with multiple practitioners, right? I mean, sometimes a lot of the time I'll sit on calls when my clients are on their HRT consults or follow-ups, right? And I'll listen and they'll be like, oh, your labs came back. This was a little high. And the client says nothing, and I'll have to chime in and be like, oh, they're on a GLP-1. Oh, that explains the IGF-1, because someone will be like, you might want to have that looked at because it's not great to have a hugely elevated IGF-1 if it was normal last time, right? So little things like that, or, this looks weird. Sometimes people don't even know what to say in response to that. Like, oh, that would make sense. I'm on a GLP-1. So if you're using different practitioners, this one needs to know what this one knows, right?
Well said.
Absolutely.
So if we go down the summary of this, I think that we start at the top of the house with have a 24-hour plan, which I think that was if you take nothing from this, have a plan. Hydrate, medications, make sure you noted all the medications. If you're taking a GLP-1, Ozempic, semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide, Mounjaro, I can't remember all the
Mounjaro.
Rybelsus. I think however many names there are, but if it's a GLP-1, make sure you note that. If you're a younger woman, make sure you time your blood draw in your luteal phase. Activity, we all kind of came up with at least 24 hours. Limit really strenuous exercise. Have a good night's sleep. No alcohol within 24 hours. Note all your supplements and get guidance from your provider if there's certain things that they don't want you to do or do want you to do. So the medication timing, if you're on HRT, to make sure you coordinated that with your provider. They usually want you running at the end of if you're doing not daily injections. If you're doing, they may want to time you at the end of one injection. So like with testosterone, if you're injecting on a Monday and a Wednesday, or Monday and a Thursday, they don't want you to inject Thursday morning before your labs. Correct. They want to see what are your levels after 3 days or whatever that time period is, to explain that. So I think I covered the highlights.
I think you did.
Yeah.
One other thing you had mentioned on our longer episode that I just did want to bring up one more time is I know you had mentioned the appointment versus showing up.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yes. Yeah. If you're needing to get a morning cortisol reading, don't make an appointment with LabCorp that isn't, unless you can get the first appointment when they
unless
open.
you're that lucky,
Unless
lottery
you're that
winner.
lucky. I've never been that lucky. So I have learned to just be at the door when they open at 7:30 and be the first walk in, because it's the only way you're going to get a really good, true morning cortisol reading. Or what you guys said, how check out the service and see if they can just come to your house and do the draw.
yeah, on
Just
LabCorp's
so
website,
cool.
we have where you
right.
can click on and have set an appointment for them to come to your house, which is
so
really
great.
nice.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's it.
All right, FitBody Lifers. Did we talk about how to get a hold of Anne? Did she say that yet?
Yeah. How do people find you?
Reach me through the FitBody Fusion website, request a consult, click me as your coach, and we can hop on the phone and talk through stuff. Or you can find me on social media at ann.lemus_IFBB Pro.
Awesome.
And anybody listening, you'd be well served in no better hands than Miss Coach Anne Lemus. Miss Coach? Coach Aunt Miss Anne?
Miss Coach.
Whatever.
Miss Coach.
Miss Coach.
And for the rest of you, the other thing that you want to do to make sure you're prepared for your labs is to like, comment, subscribe, and leave your reviews for our podcast so that we can provide you this type of content. Thank you for being loyal. Thank you for listening today. And remember the 3 B's.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other.
And be safe.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.